Hello friends, previous video I explained you about the periodic table. So in the next video I am going to discuss about certain properties of metals as well as the non-metals. So we all know that the first group and the second group, they are metals, right? First group, it is called alkali metal. Second group, it's called as an alkaline earth metals. We all know this. We have discussed this in the previous video. These are very much reactive. Alkali metal and the alkaline earth metals. So next let us discuss about certain properties of metal and non-metal, the physical as well as the chemical properties of this metal and non-metal in this next video. So moving on to the atomic size. So what is an atomic size? Atomic size, it refers to the distance from the nucleus to the valence shell. So atom, we assume this atom has a spherical shape structure having the nucleus in the center and the electrons which are revolving around the nucleus. Nucleus, it is positively charged, whereas electron, it is negatively charged. So this electron, it keeps revolving around the nucleus because of the electrostatic force of attraction which is existing between them, that is the positively charged nucleus as well as the negatively charged electrons. Okay, now let us move on to this concept of atomic size. So what actually is an atomic size? Atomic size, it is referring to the distance from the center, that is what is present in the center, nucleus to that of the electrons. Let us go to this previous one. So this is the periodic table. What it tells us, atomic size increases down the group. So atomic size, it will be increasing down the group and decreases across the period. Let us see why this is gonna happen. Moving on to this, atomic size, it will go on increasing down the group and across the period. When you move across the period, it will go on decreasing. So across the period, the atomic size goes on decreasing. Down the group, it will increase because as you move across the period, the electrons keep entering into the same subshell. So there is an effective nuclear charge which is holding the nucleus. It exerts an effective nuclear charge on the electrons that are present in the valence shell. Mainly this effective nuclear charge, it is mainly meant for holding the electrons tightly. So this effective nuclear charge, it increases across the period. So as you move across the period, the effective nuclear charge is gonna increase. But when you move down the group, when you are moving down the group, what happens is effective nuclear charge, it will go on decreasing because electrons are entering into the new subshell, not like into the same subshell. So effective nuclear charge, here what happens, effective nuclear charge decreases, and as a result of it, the atomic size is gonna increase. So this is the idea behind the atomic size. So this is the thing, decreases down the group cause electron enter into the new subshell. Effective nuclear charge increases across the period cause the electrons are entering into the same shell. Now let us discuss about the metals. Moving on to these metals, they are shiny. So when you see a metal, physical properties of a metal, they are shiny, lustrous. Lustrous is same, meaning is the same, shiny as well as they are lustrous. They have that luster, that is shining. Malleable and ductile. Malleable means you can give it any kind of shape, that is known as malleable. Ductile, you can convert them into wire. Example, gold. You can turn this gold into chain, earrings and many other things. An idol, anything you can turn it, right? So that is the meaning of the term malleable. You can give it any kind of shape. Initially it will not have any shape, later you can give the shape. And we should also know that initially the pure gold, it is very much soft. Only after adding the zinc it will get the hardness. And ductile, you can convert them into the wires. And this metal, they conduct heat as well as the electricity. Metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. This is the reason why we use the metals. Copper wire, we use it in the electricity because copper is a good conductor of heat and electricity. It's a good conductor of electricity. Even the silver is still a very good conductor of electricity when compared to the copper, because silver, it is having less resistance compared to that of the copper. Resistance to the flow of the electron. So resistance, which we'll be discussing in the next topic, other topic, when I'm teaching physics, I'll discuss about the resistance. And alkali metals are the very good example. They have high melting point. Obviously metals will have the high melting point. These are malleable as well as they are ductile, conducts the heat and electricity. Alkali metals example, and they have high melting point. Melting points are generally high. And mainly the mercury, mercury, it is a liquid metal, and mercury, it is showing zero resistance, so it's a very good conductor of electricity. First is the mercury, then comes the silver, then comes the copper. Iron, it is showing very high resistance when compared to that of the copper. It's showing a bit high resistance compared to that of copper, so it's not that good conductor of electricity. So non-metals, what about non-metals? Have you seen carbon? Carbon, it is not lustrous, it's not shiny. Carbon, charcoals, all this, it's not that lustrous, right? And most of time non-metals, it can exist even in the form of a gas. Example, noble gases. And even it can exist in the form of a liquid. Example, bromine. Carbon can exhibit allotropes. I'll explain you what is this allotrope. And isotope. Isotopes are the elements which are having iso refer to the same, the tope, isotope, they're having the same atomic number but different mass number. They are isotopes having same atomic number, different mass number. Mainly these are isotopes. Allotropy means, now carbon, it can exist in different form, that is known as allotrope. Example, charcoal, carbon can be in form of charcoal. Or what is diamond? Basically diamond is nothing but it's a carbon. And what about graphite? Graphite is a carbon. You may ask me one question, why graphite is conducting electricity? That is, it is good conductor of electricity when graphites. That is mainly because of its planar structure. It is showing that planar structure, only because of that it is conducting electricity. All gases are non-metal. As I said, halogens. What are halogens? The 17th group element which we have discussed in the periodic table. The fluorine, the chlorine, the bromine, the iodine, astatine. These are halogens. Bromine, it's a non-metal. And how it is existing in a liquid form. So this is the physical properties of the non-metals. So metal. When you prepare a metal solution, you have to prepare a metal solution. Most of the metals, they're existing in form of ionic compound. We have also discussed about the ionic compounds. What are ionic compounds? Ionic compounds, it is having a metal as well as non-metal. So in the next slide, I am going to discuss about this ionic compounds. So when you prepare a metal solution and dip these clips in the metal solution, and clip, it is connected to a switch and a bulb as well as a battery. And mainly when you dip this clip, it is made up of it is conducting electricity. Clips, they pass it, and when you on the switch, the bulb will glow. When you off the switch, the bulb stop glowing, which is indicating this metal, it is a conductor of electricity. This clips you are dipping into a solution of metal. Next, reaction. So how these metals are showing the reactions? Metals, they react with the oxygen to form the metal oxides. Example, copper, it is reacting with the oxygen to form the, which kind of oxide is this? Cupric oxide. Cupric. When copper it is having +1 oxidation state, it is called cuprous. When it is having +2, we call it cupric. This is cupric oxide. So oxidation state of copper is +2, oxygen is 2-, both these two will get cancelled and you will have a molecular formula of CuO. Aluminium. Aluminium reacting with the oxygen to form the alumina or aluminium oxide. Aluminium oxidation state is +3, oxygen is 2-, so here oxygen ka oxidation state, it comes near the aluminium, base of aluminium, and then aluminium oxidation state, it is +3, it will come near the base of the oxygen, so it will be Al2O3. So metals react with oxygen to form metal oxide. So this metal oxide, they are basic in the nature. Next, formation of ionic compound. Here let me explain you how ionic compounds are formed. So what is an ion? Ion is nothing but a charged species. A charged species are referred as ions. So we have sodium and chlorine. Sodium here, it is a metal. What about the chlorine? Chlorine is a non-metal. So atomic number of sodium, it is 11, and electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1, and chlorine it is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p5. So moving on to this sodium. Sodium, it is having atomic number 11, which means it is having 11 protons and 11 electrons. 17 atomic number, which means it is having 17 proton and 17 electrons. Sodium metals, we know the property of metals. Metals are electropositive, which means they lose the electron present in the outermost shell, or so called as a valence shell. And chlorine, it's a non-metal, so it's electronegative. We know that electronegative elements, they accept the electron from the metals, so it loses 1 electron. Now it has 10 electrons and 11 protons. Chlorine have 18 electrons and 17 protons, so sodium, it will become +1, and chlorine Cl-. So this positively charged ion is called cation. The negatively charged ion, it is called as anion. So this positively charged ion and negatively charged ion, they brought together by electrostatic force of attraction to form sodium chloride, and the bond between them, we call it as ionic bond. Bond between them, it is referred as an ionic bond. So sodium chloride, it's an ionic compound. Ionic bond, it's also called as electrovalent bond, and this compound, it is called as sodium chloride. It's called as an ionic compound. Ionic compounds are very good conductors of they are very good conductors of electricity in a, mainly when it is in the ionic form or in a solution state. Solution state, they will be existing as Na+, Cl-, and these ions, they are conductors of electricity. So this is regarding the formation of the ionic compound. So let us go to next topic, that is regarding the reaction with the water. Metals, they react with the water to form the metal hydroxide. Sodium reacts with the water to form sodium hydroxide, hydrogen, and energy. And you know, when you add this sodium to water, you can see that hissing sound. Watch some videos on the addition of sodium to the water. You will see that hissing sound. The sodium moves on the water, surface of the water, with that hissing sound. Why does this happen so? That is mainly because of release of hydrogen. Hydrogen is a combustible gas, and sometimes you see small sparks coming off when the sodium metals moves in the water, surface of the water, with that hissing sound. That's because of the hydrogen. Even energy is also released, which means it is exothermic. Exo, outside, therma, heat. So release of heat. Reactions accompanied by release of heat, it is exothermic. Reaction which involves absorption of the heat, it is called as endothermic. Here energy is released, mainly it will be in form of heat, that is called as exothermic reaction. Potassium, even potassium, sodium, they are very much reactive. You know how we store them in laboratory when we need it for after a long use. Sodium and potassium, we have to store it in the, mainly these are the ones which are stored in the alcohols. Mainly we store them in the alcohols, rather than if you add them to water, surely there is release of hydrogen. Sometimes the sparks come off. Chances of catching fire during this reaction is exothermic, which is accompanied by release of large amount of energy. And next we'll move on to this reaction with the aluminium. Aluminium, it will be reacting with the water to form alumina or aluminium oxide. I have told you how this Al2 and O3 has come in the previous slide, right? And iron, it will react to form ferric oxide, Fe3O4 ferric oxides. It will form the ferric oxides with release of hydrogen. This is an exception. Most of the metal, they form the highly reactive metals. They'll be forming what? They'll be forming the hydroxide, whereas aluminium, iron, these form the oxides when they react with that the water. So thank you. If any queries or anything you have, you can post it in the comment section, and I request you all to please subscribe my channel Science Philic. Okay, thank you guys.